entities. It is the life and soul of all education. The chanting of the holy name of Krishna expands the blissful ocean of transcendental life. It gives a cooling effect to everyone and enables one to taste full nectar at every step.
Nam Namakari Buddha Nija Sarasakti Tatrapita Niyamita Smaranena Kala Etadrisha Tavakripa Bhagavan Mamapi Durdaivami Drisham Ahajani Nanuraga.
My Lord, O Supreme Personality of Godhead, in your holy name there is all good fortune for the living entity, and therefore you have many names such as Krishna and Govinda, by which you expand yourself. You have invested all your potencies in those names, and there are no hard and fast rules for remembering them. My dear Lord, although you bestow such mercy upon the fallen, conditioned souls by liberating, teaching your holy names, I am so unfortunate that I commit offenses while chanting the holy name, and therefore I do not achieve attachment for chanting.
Trinadapi Sunichena Toro Eva Sahishnuna Amanina Manadena Kirtaniya Sadahari.
One who thinks himself lower than the grass, who is more tolerant than a tree, and who does not expect personal honor but is always prepared to give all respect to others, can very easily always chant the holy name of the Lord.
Nadanam najanam na sundarim kavitam vajagadisha kamaye mama janmani janmanishware bhagavad bhaktir ahaitiki tvai.
O Lord of the universe, I do not desire material wealth, materialistic followers, a beautiful wife, or fruitive activities described in flowery language. All I want, life after life, is unmotivated devotional service to you.
Ai Nandatanuja Kinkaram Patitamam Visame Bhavam Nudao Kripaya Tava Pada Pankaja Sita Duli Sadrisham Vichintaya.
O my Lord, O Krishna, O son of Maharaj Nanda, I am your eternal servant, but because of my own fruitive acts, I have fallen into this horrible ocean of nescience. Now please be causelessly merciful to me. Consider me a particle of dust at your lotus feet.
Nainam galad ashrudharaya vadanam gadgada rudhaya gira pulakir nikshitam vapu kada tava nama grahane bhavishyati.
My dear Lord, when will my eyes be beautified by filling with tears that constantly glide down as I chant your holy name? When will my voice falter and all the hairs on my body stand erect in transcendental happiness as I chant your holy name?
Yugayatam Nameshena Chakshusha Parijayatam Sunjayatam Jagatsavam Govinda Virahena Me.
My Lord Govinda, because of separation from you, I consider even a moment a great millennium. Tears flow from my eyes like torrents of rain, and I see the entire world as void.
Aslishava pada ratam panastumam adarshana marma harta karotuva yata tatava vidadhato lampato mat prananastatu sa eva napara.
Let Krishna tightly embrace this maidservant who has fallen at his lotus feet, or let him trample me or break my heart by never being visible to me. He is a debauchee after all, and can do whatever he likes, but still he alone and no one else is the worshipable Lord of my heart.
So Prabhu, normally I give something from my daily reading at this time. And my daily readings, we're in the 9th canto. I'm not going to go there with King Pururava and Urvasi. We can skip that, okay? But where I will go is some reading that's been going on with the Bhagavad Gita. And it's been very enlivening to me to hear the Gita so sweetly. we're in chapter 14 now. But in chapter 14, we've been talking about the jiva and how he's conditioned by the influences of material nature. And naturally, we had been in chapter 13. So it's such a wonderful description. But I always connect the Bhagavad Gita with the holy name. Don't ask me why. But today I wanted to just carry you through a few verses of the Bhagavad Gita so that in performing our devotional activities or in living our life, we may see or hear something that Krishna told Arjuna to help us take shelter of the process of devotional service, which will enable us to chant the holy name nicely. So in the second chapter, Krishna told Arjuna, first thing he told Arjuna, that he was not his body, that he was spirit, soul. And then very quickly, I left that chapter and I went to the 8th chapter. And in the 8th chapter, constantly through the Gita, he told him many times, Takshvinu, he told him just hear. He told him just hear. So in the 8th chapter, 8:7, he says, Ashmat Sarveshu Kaleshu, Mam Anusmara Yujacha, Ayarpita Manobudir, Mam Evai Shasham Shaya. Therefore, Arjuna, you should always think of me in the form of Krishna, and at the same time, carry out your prescribed duty of fighting. With your activities dedicated to me and your mind and intelligence fixed on me, you will attain me without doubt. Then he jumps, he fast forwards. We're going to get out of chapter 8 and we're going to go listen to him in the 12th chapter. And in the 12th chapter, with 12:8, he says, Mayeva mana adashva, Maye buddhi aveshaya. I hear something. Nivashishasi mayeva ata ordvam nashamshaya. He told Arjuna, just fix your mind upon me, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and engage all your intelligence in me. Thus you will live in me always, without doubt. Now we're going to fast forward, and we're in the 18th chapter. And in the 18th chapter, Krishna tells Arjuna a few things, a few times. Now he's approaching Arjuna and telling Arjuna about his consciousness. He says, I'm going to get there. I'm tempted. Yeah, I'll stop at 55. Bhaktyamam abhijanati yavanyas chashmi tatvataha tato mam tatvato yatva visate tad anantaram. One can understand me as I am, as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, only by devotional service. And when one is in full consciousness of me, by such devotion, he can enter into the kingdom of God. So there he used consciousness. He told Arjuna in 58, Machita Sarvadurgani Mat Prasadat Tarishasi Atak Chatwam Ahankaran Nashru Yasi Vinak Shashi. If you become conscious of me, you will pass over all the obstacles of conditioned life by my grace. If, however, you do not work in such consciousness, but act through false ego, not hearing me, you will be lost. And you know that he told Arjuna. Finally, Manmana, I went past it. He told him, Man mana bhava mad bhakto majaji mam namaskuru mam evaishasi satyam te pritjane priyosi me. Always think of me. Become my devotee. Worship me and offer your homage unto me. Thus you will come to me without fail. I promise you this, because you are my very dear friend. So thinking of Krishna, fixing our mind on Krishna, staying conscious of Krishna is the safest place for us to be. The instructions of Bhagavad Gita are so wonderful because they begin to break down the material manifestation, the position of the jiva and his relationship with the supreme, with the material manifestation and the supreme Lord. And they let you know that the Lord is outside and in. And in he's there is the super soul. He's always there. But the special mercy is that he comes as his holy name. And as the holy name, he's our constant companion. Once we reach out to him, Takshinu, just here. Once we utter that name and just pay attention, say it and listen to it, then we're with him. And we can continue to say that name. When we're not chanting japa, we just say my name, say his name. Chant his name in our mind. Always think of me. Constantly chant his name. And to the extent that we do that, we are constantly with Krishna. And to the extent we're with Krishna, there is no Maya. The illusion becomes dissipated. It's such an incredible situation that automatically you say Hare Krishna and you're lifted to the transcendental realm. Although our body and so many things about us are stuck in this material world, we've transcended the influences of material nature simply by uttering and associating with the Supreme Lord, remembering him. So the holy name is very, very special, very merciful. And we should remember that. And during the course of our day, whether we're doing devotional things or things that we feel are somewhat not related, anytime we interject Krishna there, then everything becomes changed. So it's just a nice thing to know, because when going through chapter 13 and 14, I was having such a wonderful time. Just seeing how we're thrown into this illusion, thinking that we're the doer, thinking that we're the controller, thinking that almost we're this body and this mind, and they have nothing really to do with us. Only to the extent that we identify with them due to the conditioning of passion and ignorance. Goodness will illuminate us and let us see things as they actually are. But the other modes, they help us in our plight of bewilderment. They get us busy or they get us lethargic, but they don't get us above those influences. So the holy name very quickly, Hare Krishna, we're above the mundane sphere. And to the extent that we keep calling, it's Cheto Dharpana, he keeps cleansing. And as he cleanses, he keeps cleansing. And he cleanses it so nicely. He says, let me take my seat there. And so it's nice. It sounds simplistic in one sense. It is. And the process is when we let go, that's the beginning of our surrender. We just let go to Krishna. Draupadi just let go. Just fighting, holding that. Sorry, these guys are just trying to just let go. That's what we do. We let go. And at the same time, we take shelter of the whole thing. So that's all I'm going to do for there. I'm going to move quickly to the living name. I'm so happy that we're here. I'm grateful. I still feel not qualified. But I'll do one thing. We're in Yojana, but remember there's 5 factors that we're going to cover in this book. Can't see them. 1 is Yojana. 2 is chanting in Sambandha. 3, chanting in Seva. 4, chanting in Vipulamba, and 5, chanting in Sharanagati. Alignment, relationship, service, separation, and surrender. So I think we are doing the concept of alignment. Is that okay on page 25?
Haryasva Prabhu, I think last week we finished with. Yes, you're right. You're right. It is alignment.
Okay.
Yeah. I thought we were on the 3 temple gates, but I think you're right. I think we stopped at alignment.
So let's go.
Sorry.
Okay, I'll start. Nama Om Vishnu Vidaya, Krishna Sai Bhutali Shivagati, Satru Vidasko Swarti Namani, Satru Bhavani, Vinitam Sarabhushnam Bhakti Grantandanai Puyam, Bhakti Vedanta Shikshitam, Nama Om Vishnu Vidaya, Krishna Pristaya Bhutale, Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Tanamani, Namaste Sarasvati Devi, Gauravani Vichorne, Nirvishesha Srinyavadi, Paschat Desini, Tarine. But we're reading from the Living Names, a guide to chanting with absorption, and it's by Satchidananda Swami. The concept of alignment. The term alignment comes from the French word aligner, which means to line up. The English translation is to arrange things in their proper position. Think of a sports car. It can speed down a highway if the wheels, gears, cylinders, fuel, etc. are in their proper position. These elements work seamlessly, only when they are fixed in their appropriate place. Then and only then, locomotion can take place. If oil or water is filled in the gas tank instead of fuel, then the car won't move. Another example of alignment is seen in yoga asanas. You can experience the full benefits of yoga and enter the yoga zone when your body posture, movement, and breathing are all synchronized. Yoga positions become laborious or ineffectual when one moves, thinks, and breathes out of alignment. We must begin to think like this in our chanting practice. We should place our mind, body, and heart in their proper positions so we can achieve optimal concentration and chant with deep feelings, deep devotional feelings. This will attract the holy name to reveal himself more and more because he notices our efforts to please him. We must begin to think like this in our chanting practice. We should place our mind, body, and heart in their proper positions so we can achieve optimal concentration and chant with deep devotional feelings. This will attract the holy name to reveal himself more and more because he notices our efforts to please him. That was so good. Taking the effort to align ourselves is our invitation to the holy name. When our home is in disarray, it's not fit to receive a guest. Only when we make order is it attractive for the guest to stay. Similarly, when our body, mind, and heart are in disarray, Krishna has no proper place to stay. Aligning our entire sadhana, sharira, vehicle for spiritual practice, helps us to fully immerse ourselves in the sound vibration of the holy name. We can thus approach the Lord on the altar of our heart and invite him to stay with us. And that's alignment. The next section is the 3 temple gates, and it's an analogy. And the Sri Rangam temple in South India has 3 distinct gates called gopuras. When one wants to enter the temple, to take darshan, see the deity, and be seen by the deity, one has to cross the first gate and pass through the outer walls that surround the temple. Then comes an inner wall with another gate. And finally, the innermost wall and one last gate. Only after passing through these three gates can a person stand before the sanctum, sanctorum, the room where the deity of Lord Ranganath resides. To approach the Lord of the heart, we also have to pass through three gates by preparing the body, mind, and heart. We have to learn to gradually tune inward by aligning ourselves while we chant. If we do so, we have done everything in our human power to approach the Lord for his darshan. It is important to note that the final gate, the very door to the altar, cannot be opened by human power. It can only be opened by the mercy of the Lord. It swings open from the inside. Thus, the revelation of Krishna is purely his mercy and not the result of applying a technique, no matter how good that technique looks in our eyes. I'm just going to read a little more and then we'll push it on. Aligning the body. When we begin our chanting of the holy name, either in japa or in kirtan, we must start by aligning our body. That is the first gate to open. It is said that both prayer and japa are best done sitting down. Srila Prabhupada would frequently admonish us, sit properly. Why? Because posture is so important. There was once a very happy sadhu who tried to help a man who came to him for counsel. This man was always depressed and sad. He had developed a habit of hunching over with his head drooped downward and his shoulders slumped forward. No matter how the sadhu tried, he could not help lift this man's spirit. One day when the man returned to the sadhu, he was surprised to find the sadhu hunched over like himself, proclaiming with excitement, "It works, it works. I'm also becoming depressed." Bodily posture strongly influences our state of mind. In the case of a conditioned soul, body and mind are entwined. If you simply bring your body into the upright sitting position, the mind will calm a little, and it becomes easier to chant. On the other hand, when the body is slumped over, the mind is often restless. Sometimes chanters pace back and forth. This is good when one is tired, but for concentration, sitting is better. When you chant japa, try to sit up as much as you're able. And when you chant kirtan, try to sit or dance gracefully as much as you're able. Aligning the body also includes making an effort to use the focus of the voice on clearly pronouncing each name. This invites the holy name to be present in its entirety, syllable by syllable. This is so important because a truncated mantra does not have the same strength as the complete one. Vedic scriptures illustrate this with stories of chanters who mispronounce their mantra and achieve the opposite to their desired result. That said, it is also true that Krishna is not pedantic. He appreciates our intention just as a father is pleased by the broken, grammatically imperfect words of his child. But shouldn't we grow up? It is a sign of love to give attention to the beloved, and this includes taking the time and effort to address him nicely without leaving out parts of his name. After proper enunciation, we must also listen carefully to the utterance of the Lord's name. Again and again, Srila Prabhupada instructed us to hear ourselves chant the mantra. At first, this may seem like a yogic concentration technique, but actually, it is an act of devotion to give all one's attention to Krishna in the form of his holy name. You will also find that listening with rapt attention will help focus your mind away from distracting thoughts. In my own experience, each round of japa takes roughly 6 minutes. Or just as we each have an individual pulse, we also have different times in which we complete one round of concentrated japa. To pace yourself accordingly, you can sometimes look at a watch. If you have finished one round in 3 minutes, it's likely you have not chanted all the 108 mantras. And if you needed 20 minutes, it's likely you fell asleep or became distracted. In summary, alignment of the body has 3 elements. 1, posture. Sit straight for better concentration. 2, pronunciation. Clearly utter the holy names. 3, listen. Hear the names as they enter your ears. Aligning the mind. So that was a summary of alignment. The next is aligning the mind and aligning the heart. Would someone like to read?
I can read.
Yeah, sorry, I like to read.
Oh, go ahead, John.
Aligning the mind. Our Western civilization has been remarkably successful in strengthening the influence of ripus, the inner enemies of the conditioned soul. These enemies, which make the mind untamed, are lusty desires to enjoy as much as we can lay our hands on. Dr. Cornel West, the American philosopher and scholar, shared with Radhanath Swami in an interview, we live in an age of mass distraction weapons. The mind regularly cheats us with misguided perceptions of reality. We become lost in inessential things that we believe to be a priority or necessity, and endlessly flit between what we want and don't want, forever changing our minds without reason or warning. We have become sick with the speed of our mind and spoiled by the hectic and frantic inner environment. Cursed by the illusory energy, we fluctuate between past happenings, remembered as happy or sad, and future fantasies projected to give us happiness or distress. The mind is a specialist in stewing on what he said or what she said, what he really meant by doing that, what we did and didn't do moments ago, days ago, weeks ago, and years ago. It is equally proficient at anticipating what will he do next? What will I do next as a result? What if her plan works out? Or what if it doesn't work out? What about my plan? Thus, we are either in the past or in the future, but right now we are not here. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur captures this sentiment in his poem, Sargrahi Vaishnava. Forget the past that sleeps and ne'er, the future dream at all, but act in time that are with thee, and progress thee shall call. In this critical, we train our minds in deep concentration. It is critical we train our minds in deep concentration or mindfulness. Be in the now, because in reality, real true life happens in the present moment. We only have the present time to live. We only have some authority over the moment right now. Why should we be ruled by things of the past or the unknown future? We have a chance to be with Krishna right now. Practice being in the present with each name you chant. Bhakti only happens in the present. If we are not aligned in this way, we will go through life but not notice the lessons placed before us. We will see but not recognize. We will be disheveled all over the place. Have you ever tried to have a conversation with someone who is constantly receiving phone calls? It is not possible to enter into any deep topics because his mind is dispersed. Krishna also cannot communicate with us if our mind is all over the material world. He can't enter into our heart if we have given it to other things. Be with the chanting by bringing your mind to it. Wherever the mind wanders, due to its restless nature, bring it back. There is a famous archery contest described in the Mahabharata, where Dronacharya, the great teacher of the Pandavas and Kauravas, called his students to demonstrate their skills. He requested them to shoot an arrow into the eye of a wooden bird placed elusively at the top of a tree. He first asked Duryodhana to try his luck, then Yudhisthira, and after him all the other young princes. But before permitting them to release their arrows, he asked each of them to describe what they saw after they had taken aim. Each hopeful archer described how they could see the tree, leaves, and the bird, other students, their teacher, and so on. Dronacharya was not pleased and forbade all of them from attempting to hit the mark. Finally, he called for Arjuna and asked him what he saw. Arjuna readied himself to shoot, just as the others did, and replied, "I see only the eye of the bird." "What about the tree? Your brothers, all of us?" probed the teacher. "Right now, I see only the eye of the bird," replied Arjuna. Dronacharya commanded, "Fire." What was the point of the test? Dronacharya wanted to teach the importance of focus. When you are focused on your goal and your mind is deeply fixed on that goal, the rest of the body aligns itself. The same holds true for chanting the holy name. Our goal is to be utterly present when we chant. In the context of kirtan, to align the mind means to listen both to the lead singer and to yourself as you repeat after him. Because most of us identify so deeply with the content of the mind, in some ways, kirtan means to lose the mind in order to find it. Lose the material mind and find your Krishna conscious mind. This means to constantly switch off distracting thoughts and replace them with thoughts of Krishna. To do that, we have to practice the essence of mental focus, return the mind to chanting whenever it drifts away. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, "Yato yato nashatlati manas chanchalam astiram tantas tato nayam yatad atmani eva yasam nayat." From whatever the mind wanders due to its flickering and unsteady nature, one must certainly withdraw it and bring it back under the control of the self. In summary, to align the mind means to, 1, relinquish thoughts of the past and future and focus being utterly present. 2, keep bringing your attention back to hearing the holy names. Don't despair if the mind still wanders. Just learn to catch it and bring it back. It is something one needs to practice relentlessly. Srila Prabhupada reiterated the solution with encouraging words. What is controlling the mind? You have to chant and hear. That's all. You have to chant with your tongue and hear the sound. That's all. What is the question of the mind? Question mark. Good morning.
Okay, Mother.
February 3rd, 1975, Hawaii.
Mother Vrindavaneshwari, you want to do aligning the heart?
Sure. Aligning the heart. The third and final gate we have to cross is to bring a heart full of devotional feelings to our practice. How? We begin by thinking about the Lord, whose name we are chanting. Though as soon as we try to think about Krishna as someone whom we need, we will find other concerns flood into our heart. Longings for partners, grand homes, gadgets, money, fame, adoration, prestige, and luxury, etc., torment us our whole lives. But if we turn all these desires into the core, we will find under the surface is the need for love, shelter, stability, appreciation, comfort, safety, etc. And underneath these is our true need for Krishna. He is the only one who can satisfy all these needs. In fact, it is our primeval longing for him that he has become substituted for this lesser superficial things. Therefore, we connect to our devotional heart when we understand, Krishna, I only want you. Only with you will I truly be happy. Recovering our lost heart. We all know about our material heart, the organ which pumps blood thoroughly throughout our body. We also have an emotional heart, the residence for feelings of friendship, community, happiness, integrity, love, inner peace, as well as pain and loss. There is, however, a third and often overlooked heart. This is the most important heart of all, the spiritual heart. It is where our true eternal self resides. Unfortunately, during the course of our daily activities in the present world, this heart can easily get covered over. It is as good as lost and critical to uncover and revive because only with a healthy spiritual heart can our spiritual life flourish. If the spiritual heart is unhealthy, we are as good as dead spiritually. So how to locate and revive our spiritual heart? We must enter into a devotional relationship with Krishna. The third heart is built to experience and express love in spiritual relationships that are being actively nourished. Mechanical practice inspired by a sense of duty or fear of what will happen to us if we don't do all that is described in the scripture will not really help us enter the life-giving realm we long for. Only a vibrant devotional relationship can impress the Lord to exchange with us and answer our longings. Reaching out to Krishna with feeling will flip the switch to the dynamic life we envision in bhakti, and thus our three hearts are satisfied. It is from this deepest place within our spiritual heart that we should chant in japa or kirtan with everything we've got, begging the divine couple for service. In this way, we can sincerely turn to their lordships and address them with devotion. There is a beautiful prayer where a devotee begs for such spontaneous devotional feelings. Just as a young man desires young ladies, and young ladies desire young men, my dear Lord, may my mind be attracted to you. This is the feeling that devotees express when they want to let go of old karmic impressions and desires that infest the entrance to their spiritual heart. We should yearn to clear the passageway into the temple of the heart where we will find our self-expression and spiritual willpower. If we follow that path, Krishna will immediately become attentive. Oh, here is someone calling out to me. I must adopt him under my care. He is now mine. Krishna responds when we call him with our hearts wide open. Even if our heart is closed before chanting, it will open if we really chant the very best we can from our spiritual heart. In summary, to align the heart means to 1, become conscious of our need for Krishna, 2, revive our spiritual heart by reaching out to Krishna in our chanting, 3, beg for mercy and specifically for service and shelter. A crucial help in aligning the body, mind, and heart is not to interrupt your chanting. No more multitasking during japa or kirtan. We must rehabilitate ourselves. Can you have a good conversation with someone who keeps interrupting the flow by making phone calls? Impossible. Therefore, stay with the holy name without spoiling the flow. At the very least, finish each round before you tend to other things. Don't let the mind steal away our opportunity for spiritual transformation.
We went through a lot, this alignment, the body, the mind, and the heart. And what I want us to do in this particular practice, I want us to be able to go home. We have a whole week. What I'll do every week is get just to get a small reflection from what we thought about what we went through the week before. It has to be brought down very concise. So this alignment of the body, there's a summary, but you can see that when you align the body, you sit right, then you can control the mind better and you're ready for Krishna. And when your mind is in the right place, then it's not chanchalam, it's not all over the place. So the consciousness, we can focus because the mind isn't, you told us Chalati is called. Wherever the mind wanders, bring it back. But the heart has to be, when we chant with our heart, then we're open to the possibility of truly receiving Krishna or we're saying the words. Prabhupada said it's simple. Just say it and listen. But now when we're saying it with an open heart, we can receive. And when Krishna sees that mood, he says, oh, let me help him. So since it's kind of good to remember, since we're undergoing the engagement, since we're in the experience anyway, we might as well get the best out of what we're doing. And therefore we pay attention. And if we really meditate on what this just gave us, what we're doing, we or just automatically, you just sit down, sit up, get settled, let those other things out, get a little focused, breathe it in, and say, I'm good, Krishna, I'm ready. And you're approaching Radha and Krishna. It's very simple. That alignment just happens if we just bring a little awareness, a little consciousness to the exercise of chanting japa. It's much deeper than I'm saying right now, but I don't want to use the time because I've read this again and again. And right now, this is knowledge. We have to steal it. You have to own it. And so to the extent that there's an acceptance within ourselves, then this becomes valuable to us. And we begin to put it in motion because it's valuable to us. That's knowledge. Once that knowledge is accepted and we begin to put it in motion, that's called practice. And so that's jnana vijnana. So the knowledge in motion means that there's some realization, at least of the need to apply this to my devotional practice. And that can't be instructed by anyone. That can only be received by you. Just like that third door. That third door, and in the analogy, we can't push that door open. We have no practice to get that third door from the heart open. That door has to open from within. The Lord has to open that door. He has to hear our call. And very, very simple, but very, very wonderful. And now I want to read the last door. After all our efforts to align ourselves, will the holy name reveal himself automatically? The simple answer, the revelation comes when Krishna, out of his great mercy, spontaneously decides. We have to wait for it, just as we wait for the final gate of Lord Raghunath's temple to be opened from the inside. The gates of Vaikuntha are guarded with heavy, sharp spears and have turned away many yogis back to the material world. No gatecrasher has ever been successful in forcing his way into the spiritual world. Similarly, we cannot force the Lord to reveal himself. The holy name Radha and Krishna will reveal themselves only when and how they choose to do so. There is no technique or skill we can learn that will make Krishna appear in our hearts. We can do whatever is in our power to push the door open, but it will undoubtedly remain closed until it is opened from inside. However, from our side, we can create the most favorable situation we can by aligning our body, mind, and heart to show the Lord that we're eager to receive him. Then we pray to Gaura or Radha Krishna that by their mercy, the holy name reveals the truth. It may appear there is a contradiction here. We hear and we have to make an effort to align body, mind, and heart. But we know that even the greatest endeavor cannot make Krishna reveal himself. This apparent contradiction is resolved by one of the sweet principles of bhakti, yayatamam praprajante. To the degree someone surrenders unto me, I shall reward him accordingly. Don't be a passionate achiever. Instead, become a grateful receiver. These are the fundamental poles of Vaishnava practice. Never hesitate to go all the way, because the Lord always lies beyond our endeavor. In other words, give your best and let Krishna do the rest. With our best endeavors, we show how much we really care and seek to obtain Krishna's mercy, feeling completely dependent on his will for divine revelation. I just think it's so, everything was encapsulated so nicely. Okay, let's open it up. If you would like at this time, you can share something that happened, something that you got today, some appreciation, or anything in this section of alignment.
I can kick it off.
Okay.
I love this section, actually. It really resonates with me a lot. When I came to the movement from yoga and mostly from a meditation practice. And I had a daily meditation I had been doing for many years. And I always would sit, good posture. And then when I came to start chanting my rounds, I would see people are out doing walks and stuff like that. I'm like, well, that's a nice idea. I'm going to just do my rounds walking around outside. And I would just do my japa and just walk around the house and walking around outside. And I started to feel very disconnected. And this went on for years, and I would say, like in my early years coming to ISKCON, I said to myself, when I was doing meditation, I was just sitting still, and in a deep meditation, I just felt so much better. And I know that chanting the rounds is supposed to be beneficial, but I just am not getting that meditation, like that deep experience that I used to get when I meditated. And then one day it kind of occurred to me that japa is meditation. And when I flipped that switch and I sat my butt down and I worked on my posture and I just focused the way I used to when I would meditate, it all came back together. And so, I find, sometimes I move around just a little bit just because I'm sitting there for 2 hours straight and the body gets achy, but I find that I can't even do really japa walks anymore because they're so and my brain is like tinsel attracts my brain so easily. I'm so easily distracted, and being outside and walking around is just so ineffective for me that I realized that sitting in a good yoga posture with my head aligned and my body aligned in a prayerful state really is the only way that I can actually do japa now. And so I noticed that even if my head, and I think I mentioned this before, like even if my head is tilting to one direction, when I notice my head is off from its alignment, I think I'm like, what was I just thinking about? And I realized that when my head's turned one way or another, I was actually thinking about something. And so when I bring my head back to center, and I bring everything in alignment again, suddenly I'm like locked back in. It's like this, pranic connection. It's like this, you just gotta you lock into it. And as soon as you break it, suddenly the brain gets turned back on again and it starts getting agitated. And then when I lock back in, it's just, things can flow again. And the japa becomes more easy and sweet. So, but it was, yeah, so I just love this section so much because it really resonates with me. So I thought I'd share that.
Oh, that's nice. I like the points that you make about when the head turns. When the head turns, you've already lost it. The focus moves, and if you're
Gone.
you're already losing it.
Yep.
And the body is reacting So the alertness is that you stay fixed. You're hearing it, you're feeling it. Satyananda Swami says there's different symptoms. I never knew this before. He said some people, when they hear the holy name, they start to move. You're just sitting down, they rock. And I found out one day I'm always rocking. You know, I'm a rock steady chanter. And I didn't know that before until once I start to hear, my body just automatically starts to move, you know? And I'm like, stop, Ari. But it's okay. He's that happen when we're focused and hearing. So that's good. That's the result. And the other thing is that I like the points that they're making because we are so dependent on the Lord's mercy. And chanting in awareness is such a wonderful way to begin to take advantage of the opportunity to meet Krishna, meaning to receive his causeless mercy. Because that's what we're trying to do. We're calling him, we're asking him, but we have to receive that mercy. So it's quite interesting. Yeah. Any other points?
I think it's really important how he points out about, this modern day life that we live and how it's completely flooded with distractions. I mean, we are so removed from, a simple life as it was, for most of existence, just over the last 100 years with all these electronic technology, so-called advancements, but constantly distracted. I mean, you have a phone on you all the time, computers, like you said, there's TVs everywhere you look, there's music and radios. I mean, and if you walk down the street today, it's remarkable. Everybody's glued to their phone. I mean, they don't even pick their heads up. It's remarkable. But I think it's really important that he points out to be aware of this life of constant distraction, and not just even for the japa meditation, but just to be present, to be here now, to be present in the moment, because that's the only thing that we truly have control over, and it's the only way that we can truly, feel peace in our lives without the distraction of thinking about the past and the future, and so many things that come into the mind. The mind, seems to just love all the distraction. It thrives on it. I think part of controlling it, as he's saying, is to just be aware, to be completely present. I thought that was really very helpful.
That's good, John. I want to leave you guys with one thing because we're going to close on time. One thing I'm going to leave you with is from the 11th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. We were there not so long ago. And the last verse is 1155. It's something in the purport. And it talks about, so I found this years ago. I said, that's my life. And Prabhupada coins the phrase Krishna Karma in this particular purport. And I just give you a little something so that as we go through not just our day, but as we go through our life, we can really think about the fact, what are we doing? What is our goal? And we're living a lifestyle which is full of different conditionings of passion and ignorance. A little bit of goodness sometimes if we have some devotional things, but we're bombarded with the conditionings of the material modes of nature. Remember, the modes alone are working. So we're being pushed around. So when we engage our body, mind activities, then it changes. So here's Srila Prabhupada. No work should be done by any man except in relationship to Krishna. This is called Krishna Karma. One may be engaged in various activities, but one should not be attached to the result of his work. I got to make money. I go to work to make money. I got to pay for this. No one should be attached to the result, of his work activities. But one should not be attached to the result of his work. The result should be done only for him. For example, one may be engaged in business, but to transform that activity into Krishna consciousness, one has to do business for Krishna. If Krishna is the proprietor of the business, then Krishna should enjoy the profit of the business. If a businessman is in possession of thousands and thousands of dollars, and if he has to offer all this to Krishna, he can do it. This is work for Krishna. Instead of constructing a big building for his sense gratification, he can construct a nice temple for Krishna. And he can install the deity of Krishna and arrange for the deity's service, as is outlined in the authorized books of devotional service. This is all Krishna Karma. One should not be attached to the result of his work, but the result should be offered to Krishna. And one should accept as prasadam the remnants of offerings to Krishna. If one constructs a very big building for Krishna and installs the deity of Krishna, one is not prohibited from living there, but it is understood that the proprietor of the building is Krishna. That is called Krishna consciousness. If, however, one is not able to construct a big, and he goes on, you can so tell or whatever. But all our activities, whatever we're doing, our consciousness has to change. Our consciousness changes into let me do it for Krishna. And then we lose the karma and we gain the Krishna karma, and we lose the passion and we get and we move towards goodness. And then yukta vairagya, our renunciation is complete because we renounce everything is used in the service of Krishna. And we still live our lives and we do everything, but we do it Krishna-centered. This shows that we've understood that we're not these bodies. We're spirit soul. The purpose of the human form of life is to reestablish that relationship with Krishna. If we don't do it, all the other things that we're doing, they distract us and they take us to a place we do not want to go to. That is the conditioning that you spoke of, John. The conditioning we're being bombarded constantly. So that it's just a simple way to remember Krishna and stay engaged in his service. We cheat Maya and we do it. We do the activities that we do and we do it for Krishna. That's all. These things I want to just put in our consciousness as we get back, because next week we should have just a short reflection on how we were able to gain or it didn't work for us in our acceptance of Yojana. We went through the first one. We got 4 more big ones. So we went through Yojana. So let's reflect. And I think next week really get into it, the application. I think after we finish that, there's another aspect of yes. Now that we've done that, then there's another aspect of Yojana, aligning the body, We just did the first part. So it'll be nice. It'll just take us further. Okay, thanks so very much. All words proper.
Thank you,
Vanchakalatarundu
Prabhu.
Thank you, Hari. Hari Krishna, nice to see you. And your smiling face.
Yeah. At least I got my teeth back. Hare Krishna, Mother.
All goddess Srila Prabhupada. Nice class. I was listening, that's all.
I'm praying for your daughter.
Granddaughter. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for all the prayers.
Thank you, Mother. You deserve everything. Remember, you're the rock. You're the rock that they're building this on. Hare Krishna, glories of all.
I could help her. She's on bed. She's still in the hospital.
Where's Mother Shobha Radhe? Is she still in Cleveland?
Yeah, she's still in Cleveland. Today she will be bringing the little granddaughter. She's coming tonight. She's driving.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
If everything goes in, tomorrow I might come and drop in for a while. Have darshan.
Okay. That'd be good. It'd be good to see you guys. Krishna.